Good evening. It is Wednesday, February 11th at 6:34 p.m. and we're kicking off the Park and Rec meeting. Should we call to order?
Yes, we should. At 6:34. 6:34 p.m. And then we'll do our roll call too.
All right,
Starting with you, Vice Chair Sewell.
I'm here.
Commissioner Gornitsky.
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee.
Present.
Commissioner Ocampo.
Present.
Commissioner Sims.
Here.
Thank you.
And roll call?
We just went through that.
All right,
But we
so-
can proceed with the adoption of the
Thank you.
agenda. Yeah.
It's been a long day.
You're doing great, Tom.
So adoption of the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda. Second.
I know we'll just do all in favor and all opposed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
No.
So the motions are when we have anyone joining us virtually. The
Okay.
commissioners, I should say, but everyone present here is in the room.
So we're going to move on to approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
I second.
All right.
All right, Tom. So all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
Yep.
Oh, boy, here we go. Wait, I didn't say it yet. We're trying to get the ratings up. A little more dramatic. All right, any citizen communications?
Mr. Barnes?
Thank you, Chair and Commission. My name is Michael Barnes. I'm a Brisbane resident. I'd like to ask for like a follow-up or an update on the status of the Crocker Trail Master Plan EIR. I kind of want to know when we might expect the EIR comment period to begin and when we may expect public hearings on the EIR and when we may expect a final approval of the EIR by the City Council. Just for information, I haven't heard anything and I expected it would have been done at the end of last year. Thank you.
Do we want to talk about that? No, we don't. Got it. I kind of want to talk about it.
Yeah. But can we put it on an agenda? Can we agendize that?
You can agendize it for the next meeting, and we can provide an update.
Yeah, I think we should.
I would love to learn more about it. Yeah. So, all in favor?
Do we need a vote?
No.
I like voting. It's super fun. Ratings, people. Do we have any presentations?
Not tonight.
All right. We're going to jump into old business. Parcel R, park planning recommendations. It's in the attachment.
All right, so the commission discussed this item at the January meeting and received a project overview from staff. Given the tight timeline, you made the decision to establish an ad hoc subcommittee to study the site, as well as its constraints and opportunities more in depth before bringing the item back to the full commission. The ad hoc subcommittee met the past 2 weeks, first on site at Parcel R, then again at City Hall with staff to ask questions and share ideas in preparation for this meeting. Their notes were included in your packet. Last week, the City Council approved the amended contract for CMG Landscape Architecture to develop conceptual designs within the footprint of Parcel R. The goal is to create a concept design that will reflect feasible park amenities and landscaping within Parcel R based on community input. The commission should identify key priorities and recommendations for the site. In light of budgetary and site constraints, decision-making should take into account geographic and financial limitations, accessibility compliance, placemaking, broad appeal across diverse user groups, longevity, durability and maintenance requirements, and overall connectivity. The commission's being asked tonight to identify their top 3 to 5 priorities for the site and to take a majority vote on its recommendation to the council subcommittee. This will enable the consultant to proceed with the development of conceptual designs. With that, I will defer to the subcommittee if they have anything to add or wish to share on their notes from their last couple of meetings, and then happy to take public comment before the full commission has the opportunity to discuss and make their recommendations.
Thank you, Noreen. A few of us went to the meeting last week, and I think the takeaway from the mayor, it was really interesting to hear the pressures that they have compared to how we kind of feel as well. The pressure is really, truly is going over budget and doing something that's going to cost a lot of money. And I understand the fears. They did pass it, $75,000 to move forward with some planning. And I think we can do this on budget and do something very simple. I think this is the first opportunity for Park and Rec to be involved in something that could potentially happen, as you say, in our lifetime. So with that, the other thing is when somebody gives you money and it's on a plot that's above sea level rise, and it's kind of a simple entrance, we have public art, we have all these things we've been working on, everything seems to be pointing to a yes. And I think, I know we can do this. So with that, do you want to speak to our tour, the notes from our tour?
Yeah, and thank you, Tom. And I will just say, just to kind of reiterate what you just said, budget is a key consideration here. That is what we heard loud and clear from council. So I think that's the thing we have to be really mindful of. Everyone has everyone loves the idea of having a beautiful park at that place. It's just a matter of threading the needle so that we have something that's not going to be expensive to maintain. And so I think, my thought is we create infrastructure and a nice situation with the 1.9 million with a vision toward the future that can be built upon, because we have the foundation that is getting started. We potentially have money from the arts fund, and the council seemed very open to using those funds to create something beautiful in that space. And then there's future revenue that also comes in. So I think there are several things for us to consider. And with that, I will just kind of talk about the notes and kind of some of the things that came up. And with the context that as we think about these things, what we're being asked to do is to kind of prioritize the 3 to 5 things that we think are most important.
And this is on page, this is on page 20 of the packet.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. So I'm just going to go from the list. Do you all want me to review some of the things and then we can talk about each, kind of go through and talk about our top priorities? Do we want to do it that way?
Sounds good.
Okay, so we have clear and improved signage to define the park and establish a strong sense of place. Historic and educational signage that reflects the site's heritage and educates visitors. Ample seating throughout the site oriented to views and activity areas. A bench berm. Observational lookout points with views to the north and south along the bay. Can we stop for 1 second? I just got a note from a citizen that she could not hear.
Do you want to check with Lou? Give us 1 moment. We'll just
Okay.
verify.
That's going to affect our ratings.
I was reading this.
Well, we got people watching.
We have ratings.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Rate teens?
Okay, so continuing. Okay, so I'm going to just start from the top in terms of things that we thought about. And again, with the caveat and the framework that we are looking to work within budget, what we've been asked to do is, figure out 3 to 5 priorities that we want for the initial phase and that we think will stay within our budget, and also build infrastructure so that we can continue to improve the area as budgets allow. Okay, so we have clear and improved signage to define the park and establish a strong sense of place. Historical and educational signage that reflects the site's heritage and educates visitors. Ample seating throughout the site oriented to views and activity areas, bench berms. Observation lookout points with views to the north and south along the bay. Incorporation of a parallel bay trail to improve near-term connectivity and provide a long-term alternative to the existing trail impacted by sea level rise. And finishing the existing path that doesn't lead anywhere. Attention to site cohesiveness, grading transitions, and ADA accessibility. Landscaping that prioritizes native seawater tolerant plant species. Design elements that support site stabilization and long-term resilience. Durable, low-maintenance materials capable of withstanding coastal conditions. Rentable picnic areas and other modest revenue-generating amenities. Small-scale amphitheater or a plaza, approximately 50 people it would hold, strategically positioned to provide both seating and site stabilization that can serve as a gathering spot. Integration of public art to enhance the character and visual interest. Integrated play elements that encourage informal play without requiring full playground infrastructure, such as slides and a climbing wall. Incorporate aesthetically pleasing wind barriers that enhance comfort in exposed areas using a play with the wind approach inspired by kinetic art. Low-cost bike trail features to support cycling and active use. Consideration of relocation or construction of public restrooms to serve site users in the interim, to serve site users. In the interim, we'll explore temporary restroom options. Provision of accessible utilities such as water and electrical to support future programming and special events, as well as a water fountain or a bottle filler. And we want to support proper drainage at the site and have a designated area for food trucks to serve weekend and special event users, potentially accommodated outside Parcel R using adjacent existing hardscape areas. And shade canopies may be considered a lower priority due to the wind and cooler conditions. And that's what we got.
So I think we'll go, Christine, can I start with you with questions, or do you want me to go to the other side of the room? Do you have questions?
I do have
Okay,
questions,
awesome.
yes. So, but before I voice my question, comment, the ad hoc committee did an amazing job of coalescing all the different materials in such a short period of time. I thought it was really good at capturing and distilling down all the information into what made sense for the site and was worded very, very nicely. So I just wanted to give kudos for that because there was a lot of time pressure and you handled it very, very well. Now, in terms of questions, so there are two questions that I have. The first question is related to when we're thinking about the budget, is there any budget that has permission to be held over as either a buffer for this project or potential future projects, or is all of this falling under this has to be used for Parcel R and it has to be used now? Is there any segment that is not part of that designation?
From what I understand, no, but I do know that there's money thought out for maintenance for a few
Right.
years.
Got it. So we need to make
Is
sure.
that right, staff?
So just as a point of clarification, there were a couple of donations to this specific fund, some of which are tied directly to Parcel R and must be used on Parcel R, some that are subject to the Mitigation Fee Act, which is kind of driving the timeline for the project. But the general idea is that the total amount of the fund, which is right around 1.9 million, is anticipated to be allocated towards Parcel R
Got
for
it.
development of this park project.
Okay, perfect. So we're on the hook to identify a budget for the maintenance, so making sure that we stay below. The other item that I wanted to have clarification on, our task as the Parks and Rec Committee now is to identify and prioritize of this list 3 to 5 priorities, so 5. Some of the items that are on this list seemed like not necessarily items, but guiding principles, and I assume we can incorporate that. So when we're talking about using materials that can withstand the marine environment, that's not the priority, that's an instruction, right? So some of the items on this list should be pass through and not items that are priorities.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah, so those were my questions.
That's great. And maybe make note of items on there when we get back to you. You've spoken already. I'll go last with you because you probably don't have any questions. So I'm busy tonight, so I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
I'm going over to Natalie.
Me? Natalie, you're skipping me.
No, you're last. That's for last.
Oh, geez.
Right. She's the expertise when it comes
I
to
don't.
all the landscaping. So I think these are all a lot of great ideas, and to Christine's point, yeah, we can incorporate a lot of these into like the priorities. But I think, you know, if we incorporate having that diverse user base at, like what it mentions here, like with families and children, but also considering I guess the weather, right? The wind and like ensuring that and like the changes of the whole geography of the coast conditions. I think that's something that would be a priority. And so I'm gonna defer to the group on like the priorities of what, you know, with all the, what I just mentioned with the geographics and
Any questions? you
weather.
have?
But nope,
Anything?
this is anything.
Yeah.
I think you guys did a great job on like actually just having a full detailed like scope of like what the priorities are. I don't have any. You guys stumped me.
That's great. That's good work. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just-
You're up.
Okay, I got lots of notes. This space, I walk by every day, and I'm very familiar with it. But it's in such rough shape right now, it's kind of hard to visualize how it could be manipulated, designed to be a more usable space. But it is approximately 2 football fields large. So keeping that in mind, it's not a small space. It's not something that we have to, it's kind of a large space for, you know, if you consider like a playground or an event space or whatever, there's a lot of ground to kind of cover, which makes things expensive, right? I think the most important,
With these questions first, right?
oh, questions.
Yeah, we're going for
Sorry,
questions.
we're going for questions. I'm not on my soapbox yet. Okay, questions. Questions. No questions.
Right. I do have a question. Michael brought up a great point about the safety and the cement around the surrounding area of Parcel R. Is that something we think about now, or is that something we think about later? That seems to be not really into the park and rec, but more like public safety and streets.
So we recognized in our site walk with the subcommittee that there are a couple of sidewalks that lead to nowhere or drop off into the street. And so what we heard was that there is some desire to enhance connectivity, but also accessibility and safety so that people aren't walking in the street as much. So Maz and I have had the conversation with the consultants about that. They're aware. I don't think that, given the funding, that there's any anticipation that there would be significant concrete work done or significant revisions out there, but we recognize that there's a concern around safety and continuity, and so that I think will be prioritized in some way.
And is that in our budget or not outside of our budget?
That's something that the
Specifically?
consultants will
Got it.
determine. Yep.
That's all I got. Do you have any questions since you've walked the site?
No.
Nothing? Okay. What?
Do we want to take public comment?
Oh, right, great. We're gonna do that now. That's great.
Yeah.
Michael, or is there any public comment? No, you have public comment. All right, here we go again.
Here we go.
I love it. By the way, I
Mr.
just want to
Chair.
thank you for all the work you put into this and your positivity in it. It's been great.
Welcome. I did mock up a picture that you requested of the, I don't know if you guys can put that up. It's on that thumb drive. It's a mock-up. It looks at I don't know what you think of the front or the back, but as you approach Parcel R from the street, I plugged in a pump track right there, and I scaled it appropriately. I think it was, the top elevation is 25 feet, the street's at 21 feet, and so I kind of sized the 3-foot tall pump track accordingly. And it's pretty crude, but you asked for it, so I thought I'd throw that in there. So if it's available at some point, they can, take my ugly mug off the screen and show it to you.
There's a lot of us that love visuals. They really help.
Yeah, they really do.
For the uninitiated, can you clarify what a pump track is?
I gave you a picture.
I have a picture, and that's fantastic. and I see that the public also has the mock-up as well on the screen.
Right.
So, what is it?
Oh, it's a place where you can ride scooters, bicycles, or skateboards without having to push or pedal. Think of it as how you gain momentum in a swing. And the same thing is true of the pump track. You basically kind of jump up and down on your vehicle of choice as you go up and down these kind of rolling waveforms, and that gives you more and more momentum that carries you around the track. That's why they call it a pump track, because you're pumping on the board or on the bicycle. We rented one from this company, American Ram Company, back in 2021, because coming out of COVID, we couldn't have jumpy houses and that kind of thing. And the kids were all over. We actually rented this track that you see, and kids wouldn't get off the track. And we stayed there an hour or two after the closing of the festival, and it just kind of reinforced how popular it was. And it's kind of like a skate park, right? Kids are trying to master their own abilities, and that's kind of the motivation why they keep coming back to it.
You know that Mr. Barnes here inspired the kids to build the skateboard park in town. So he's an advocate for that, and thank you. This is great. You have any additional comments?
Yeah, I don't think I've even started yet.
Oh, great. Let's go.
The additional clarification.
Sure, no problem. There's, I don't know if you're on Facebook. If you look, there's a, what's the name of the website? I made a video of that day in the park. It's about 5 minutes long. And I can't remember the name of the Facebook group that I created for that. But you could look it up, Brisbane Pump Track. And there's a video, and it's awesome. So as far as features, I guess for me, it's making the top elevation 25 feet for as much of the Parcel R as you can, and then having a concrete plaza up there with tables and seating. I don't know if a pavilion is in the budget or not. I don't know how much those are. So that would be one. I think because it gives you such great views of the bay, and as the parcels within Sierra Point get built on, so right across from Parcel R is a huge empty parcel, one of the two parcels actually. One is slated to be an office building, and the other is going to be an office or a hotel or condo development at some point in the future. And so as those things close off the views to the west, I think the views to the east, north, and south become more important. I think it's prudent to turn the decomposed granite trail into the Bay Trail, as you mentioned, and put some sort of harder surface on it so that it's accessible to all, and it can be used in any weather condition. Like today, decomposed granite can be kind of mushy. So, and as part of that, I think I proposed, maybe taking out the 2 parking spaces where there's one of them's handicapped and one of them's for the staff, for the harbor master's office, and just make that part of the trail that leads from the harbor master's office up to the new Bay Trail, and complete it to the ramp at the far end. I also did kind of think out of the box and proposed closing the streets on the diagonal sides of Parcel R. And for me, it could be something as simple as K-rail and just isolate those streets. And then you could put bicycle features in there, which I have given the Park and Rec Commission an example of what bicycle features are. Or it can also be a location for food trucks that serve the park. It can be a location for a porta potty. I heard that is a issue that one of the subcommittee members had. You could put a porta potty in there. you know, a portable coffee shop on weekends or something for parents bringing their kids out there to ride their bicycles. The reason why I kind of like that location for the bicycle skills features is it connects to the Bay Trail. And when parents bring their kids out there, after their kids have mastered their, you know, being able to ride a bicycle, they ride on the Bay Trail, and that's their exercise. And if you give them a destination to go to, kids might actually want to go out to Sierra Point. Closing the side streets is not actually on Parcel R, but I would like to point out that adjacent areas have long been a part of the Sierra Point Park planning process. In July 14th of 2022, the City Council staff report, where they actually proposed this project, is when CMG got their first contract. The staff report says the vision for the project includes passive and active recreational opportunities intended to engage the public and promote integration with the surrounding areas, including the marina, the San Francisco Bay Trail, and adjacent businesses. And then in 2023, the staff report said, well, this is February 20th, 2025 staff report, but it refers back to 2023. This phase of the project, or the park planning process, included additional public engagement and was presented to the City Council in March 2023. Shortly thereafter, the Council paused the park planning effort to allow for further study of anticipated sea level rise impacts on the marina and adjacent properties. So again, adjacent properties have always been part of this park planning process. And then just a few days ago at the February 9th, 2026 City Council meeting, where they approved the contract with CMG. The contract on page 16 says, in task 2, which is the task that you're on right now, that the 65% concept plan, this task includes development of a draft concept plan for Parcel R and adjacent areas. So to me, the diagonal streets that abut Parcel R could be considered adjacent. And I think they'd be really good at serving it and making it safe for pedestrians, bicycles, and providing additional services for the park. So I think Bay Trail, the K-Rail Street. So those are my priorities. I would like to make a pitch on the bicycling features. They're pretty inexpensive. I've given you a quote for one that I got in 2024 when I was trying to buy one of these features to put out on the Crocker Trail. They seem pretty affordable. They're out at Ocean Beach. One of them out at Ocean Beach is broken recently, but the others are still in fine use. So I think part of Ocean Beach problem is that they've got so much salt in the air out there, and it looks like it corroded. As far as the budget, I provided Noreen with a spreadsheet, and that was actually part of the presentation I gave the subcommittee last week, where I plugged in the linear foot costs and square foot cost that CMG had estimated for the larger park project, and then scaled that down to this smaller 1.5 acre parcel size. And so you have a tool, if you want to plug into a spreadsheet to see if what you want is within the budget. It's just a tool for you guys to maybe consider. And finally, I also provided a list of future-proofing considerations, which is also one of the tasks before you. But the last thing I want to talk about is the budget. And I attended that city council meeting where they approved the contract with CMG, and they talked at length about the contract, or the cost of this project. And of course, I provided a spreadsheet. I tried to keep my costs for this project under 1.9, but planting was a little more expensive than I thought. But the council actually created this whole project, and it's worthwhile to think about the history of this. The council negotiated the $2 million from the developers out there for a park, and so a lot of the talk at the city council meeting was not about the park, but all the problems within it, how expensive a park was. But this is their idea, and they came to the community and asked us what we wanted in a park out at Sierra Point. They did that, and then it was the city council that engaged in mission creep, and it went from just being Parcel R to Parcel R going all the way up to the fishing pier, and that came from the direction of the city council. That was not the public asking for that, and so the public just kept giving feedback, taking the surveys, telling the city council what they wanted, and then the park proposal came back again from the developer, or from the consultant, and it was the entire eastern seashore or bay shore of Sierra Point, which is 17 acres from the exercise station up to the pier. And again, the community was just participating in the city council's project, and then it got to be a $50 million park. And that's what they kind of lost their minds about that number, but it was because of their process and what they asked for. It wasn't the public. I'm fine with a $1.9 million park. I'm hoping that we can do something, but a lot of the talk about the budget is really the city council's responsibilities. They're the ones that blew up the budget, is the bottom line. So I wish you luck. I hope we get a park. Everything I've seen so far is positive. Keep it simple. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we clap? No, sorry.
We will
I
have
just-
Michelle Salmon speak next.
Oh, great.
She's
Thank you.
joined us online, so I will
Michelle.
unmute her right now. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, sorry I missed the beginning because I couldn't hear it. But I don't know why your sound wasn't working. I will say that I'm pretty tired of certain people blaming the council for everything. It was the subcommittee that sort of expanded the original scope of what CMG was doing, not the entire council. So, but I also want to make sure that we're really clear on what the site size is, because Lisa, you said it was about the size of 2 football fields. 1 football field, including the end zones, is 1.32 acres. 1 football field, including the end zones, is 1.32 acres. I just looked it up. This parcel is 1.5 acres, so it's not 2 football fields. So please reset your mind.
Okay, I asked somebody else if that was correct and they said it was, so I was just going off of information that I got, but
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
That was incorrect information. So, and I'm excited about Parcel R. And I mean, I was instrumental with, not losing Parcel R, and not trading property we owned for property we owned, even though it had a 99-year lease on it. And so, yeah, I have a lot of care for Parcel R, and I'm really looking forward to it to being, better utilized than what it is right now. So I do appreciate the work you're doing. But I do want to make sure that we do something that's reasonable, flexible, and won't be wasted in 10 years when the sea level rise goes up higher and higher and higher. And I am concerned for our marina and for the landfill as well. So that's it. Sorry to sound like Debbie Downer. I'm actually really looking forward to what you guys are putting together. I attended the subcommittee meeting. I attended the council meeting, and I'm looking forward to Parcel R becoming much more useful than it is now, and much more of a focal point and the beauty of the marina. So I just really want to thank you for the work you're doing on this, but I also want to make sure that we're really cognizant of what we can and cannot do with the budget that we have. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
We have no other public comment at this time, so we will encourage the commission to facilitate the decision-making conversation.
Who would like to start with kicking off their 3 to 5? Is someone going to take notes on this?
Meeting.
We got it over here.
Got it? You sure? All right.
I mean, I can start.
Yeah, why don't you kick it off?
All right, so appreciate all the commentary and agree that, from my perspective, the situation is we have 1.9 million. It is destined for a park. We, no matter what has happened in the past, we just have to focus on the future, which is using this money responsibly, which does include future-proofing. It does include keeping within the budget to the extent possible. We did hear from council, there are questions on, how accurate the CMG estimates are. I have to say, on a personal level, I found them a bit low, and a lot of time has passed. And so the other thing I think is we need to move now, because if time continues to pass, things, as we know, will just get more and more expensive. So with that being said, I've kind of a couple of things that I think are very important. One is landscaping. So I would just say, I put this, and I include like the alternative trail in that landscaping, which is part of future proofing, but it's also getting rid of the trail to nowhere or replacing it with a trail that actually is well thought out and goes somewhere. So that it makes sense, because right now that doesn't make sense. I also include in that making it accessible, because as I said, I brought 2 people there. Both had trouble. I literally had to kind of have them give me their hand to get up there. So to the top. So I would like to see it be accessible so that you can just walk if you work there across and have a nice view and some trails. The second thing I think is important is signage to provide a sense of place. I would like to see something with a nod to history and a nod to Brisbane. And I think that's something that could fall well within budget. If we're going to send people there, we need places to sit. I think we could get benches perhaps that are very artistic that could come from, with the subsidy from some of our art money. I'd like to see picnic tables with a wind shelter for them. I know an arena is desired. I do think that's probably a big ticket item, although it potentially could be a revenue generator. I would love to see bike features, and I would like to see them attached to looking at the roads on the side, because I do think those are a hazard, and I don't know if that's necessarily within our purview, but I would like that to be a piece of it that maybe would come at some point, and I do think that's a nice thing for perhaps the Park Foundation to work on as well in terms of funding if we didn't have enough. And I lastly would like to see a porta potty and food trucks. And but again, I know this is more than we bargained for, so I've kind of listed them in order that I see as most important. And I'll just stop with that.
Thank you. Would you like to go, Christine?
I'd love to go.
Yay.
What I get confused by is to what extent we have amalgamations, because I love the idea of saying trail, landscaping, and accessibility are all one thing in terms of priority. I don't know if we get to budget them that way, but those are definitely on the top of my list.
Smart.
Yeah. Got a special love for the Bay Trail. Haven't finished it yet, but the trail's also not done elsewhere either. So we're not the only holdout. And then I guess where I come to question is the inclusion of amphitheater versus picnic area. If we can do both, fantastic. If pushed to, hey, we need to prioritize and you have to lose something, my nod would go to picnic over amphitheater for not necessarily budgetary constraints or thinking, because I think you could technically rent out both types of facilities. I think the thing that comes top of my mind in reading the different items from the public when the first survey results came out, one of the things that was very clear was a place of peace was something that was very commonly cited by the majority of people who responded to that survey. So I thought that preserving that, anything that goes more towards serenity would get an extra nod to that end. Art, giving it a sense of place. I don't know to what extent we need to identify which type of art. I know there were a couple different items that were indicated. Signage can be artistic. I think there was also like wind, kinetic sort of art. So I'm not artistic myself, but I like the idea of giving something a long-standing beauty for others to enjoy. So those are my thoughts on it. And I think those were 4 things, depending on how you count.
Thank you, Christine. Did you have a comment, Julie?
I just want to comment that I agree with everything Christine said.
I'd like to weigh in on seeing everything that was developed for the $50 million project really helped me see the whole vision of a future there. So I have to say that it really did help me. That work, Michael, or it helped me visualize what it could become. The number one thing for me, I guess, is wind. And then that would point me towards amphitheater, because I think we have a great opportunity to kind of surround the amphitheater with the wind structure. The second point would be the Bay Trail. I think that thinking about the Bay Trail before sea level rise is really smart, forward thinking, and the public wants that. And I'm hopeful that there might be some funding to help get some money to pay for that. ADA, I'm channeling Trudy. The ADA is huge. She wants, paths, safe wandering trails, lots of benches, seating. The other, Michael's inspired me to think about a bike structure out there. And somebody said that they see their kids out there riding and learning how to bike ride and teaching their kids how to ride. And I went out there, and sure enough, there it was out in the middle of this kind of crappy parking lot. And it spoke to me. So I would like to see if we can incorporate that. And then the looking ahead for a restroom, we can't build anything, but I do think we can make a pad somewhere where there's drainage, a water feature that could have a public bathroom. It's not that sexy, but I think we need one. I think the one at the marina is too far away and hard to find. So I think if we're going to build something, it needs to have a restroom, especially if we're going to rent it out. That's all I got. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I was questioning the bathroom thing because there are bathrooms out there. But you're saying they're too hard to find? They're too far away?
They're pretty far away, and there's no clear signage. I mean, you could find it, you just have to walk the marina, right?
Yeah, but it's not that far. I don't know. There's several along that part of the Bay Trail. There's one on the end as it turns a corner, and then there's another one kind of in the middle, which seems really close to me. But
So
Yeah, I think there was a
are
map.
two,
yeah.
and I would estimate, and I am no expert in football field distance.
Right, I am
but
not either,
I
obviously.
think they are, I would think they're each a football field away
Oh,
from
okay.
that site.
Really?
On one side and the other. Yes, I thought the
Okay.
building that you can see from there was a bathroom. It's not.
Do we have a map?
So it's something to do with the marina, and now I can't remember what it is.
There was a map somewhere.
It's laundry and showers. Thank
It's
you,
right
Michael.
next to it.
okay, so there's laundry and showers there, possibly doing a little additional bathroom on that existing building might be cheaper than reinventing a new bathroom up there. Just saying, it's not, for me, I see bathrooms within sight of that, and I know that bathrooms are a big expense, so that's just my opinion. So my thoughts about this are that we've got a pretty blank slate out there. So land moving, what do you call it? Hardscape is going to be very important, especially as you mentioned with wind mitigation. I really like the idea of something built into the land, carved out of that space in order to protect it a little bit from the wind, but also not obliterate the view, That's where good designers come in. I'm not saying that I have the solution for that. I'm just saying that hardscape is going to be important for this. My top priorities would be kind of two separate spaces. One kind of a play space, like what Michael's talking about, a space that's very active for families and kids, which we really don't have that much in town. Our playgrounds are getting old, and I've been hearing grousing from parents that they're just not up to par. And it would be really nice to have, I think, a pump track would be a real magnet, not just for our families and kids, but from people from the whole area to come and use. I think it'd be very popular. As demonstrated by the pump track day in the park where we couldn't get kids off of the pump track. It's just a great thing to think about having out there. I think it'd be wonderful. The other portion would be, and it's how do you marry these two ideas together? You have a family play space, and then you want something that's more relaxing. I love a fire pit idea. I love an amphitheater carve out. I love a gathering space, possibly where people could get married, you know? I'd love to have it accessible by food trucks, have a pad out there. We have electrical and water. Have a pad somewhere adjacent to this gathering space so that if somebody wants to have a real party, they can just pull a food truck right up there and it's catered, you know? Anyways. About the landscaping. Landscaping is great, and I've seen some beautiful landscaping that's gone in over at Oyster Point that's just absolutely gorgeous, but it takes maintenance. And unfortunately, hate to say this, but our town does not have a good track record on maintaining beautiful landscapes. Right now, landscapes all over town are suffering because basically we don't have gardeners, we have maintainers, people who will go and weed whack and, blow away leaves, but as far as nurturing plants and, coming up with new plantings and keeping things looking good, we don't have a good track record on that. And so whatever goes out there, I'd like it to look good, but of course, minimal maintenance. And I think if we want a bigger and better native plant, planting and all this stuff, we're going to have to get volunteers involved in helping with maintaining it, because I just don't think that our city is very great at nurturing plants. And they're gonna look, pretty bad if they're not nurtured. Anyways, but they can be nicely designed and somehow meld those two ideas together. Let me think if I've left anything out. Oh, picnic area. I'm not big on picnic areas because we have picnic areas out there already. I'm trying to think of things we don't have. We don't have, again, good family activity spaces. Also, we don't have a good, these exercise areas for adults. Maybe combining something. It doesn't have to be big, just some kind of station there that adults maybe could hang out, watch their kids, get a little exercise. So, anyways, that's it.
I do have one comment about the food trucks. I didn't mention food trucks because I'm hoping that section of cement is being paid for by somebody else. But I do see the point, and I do see the opportunity there, especially because I work down there and I see a lot of people on nice days. This is the best time of year, not today particularly, but last week. Nobody had a place to eat, and they're all coming out of all the young folks are coming out of the buildings, and there's really no place for them to hang out and get food. So,
Get food. Yeah.
well, there's food services, but a place to hang out, to eat, to get food during the week or a wedding, they bring in food. I do see it. I'm just hoping that it's not on this budget.
I got you. I'm thinking of a pad. I don't even know.
Yeah, well, there's talk about it putting on the sides where it's.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Natalie, do you have any recommendations?
Yes, I do. So just considering like the coastal conditions, incorporating like what we heard tonight, like keeping things simple, and then also considering like looking to the future, what could be happening like with the sea level rise. And then also like with the photos here, we're looking at, I think there was the cove, the China Basin, that's very similar. And then one of the coves in San Francisco that are, and those are, I think like Crane Cove Park, those are also off the water with coast. And they kept things a lot simple, right? And what they incorporated, which I really like, is the generating like the picnic, or so generating revenue, right? Incorporating like a picnic area and having that open plaza, like learning our kids, right? And other individuals would use that open plaza. I do like the fire pit area just because that we don't have anything like that. And again, considering the winds. But I feel like with the plaza and the picnic area, we have to ensure that there's some way where we can incorporate a wall or some like, you know, so that people feel comfortable to position it to prevent the winds. And I think food trucks are always nice, but I don't know like how successful that would be, like permit parking and things like that. But I've been thinking of like a lot of things to generate revenue is like what we need, because our parks are getting really busy here. So it'd be a good idea to find some way to incorporate that. Then also accessibility is huge, especially like with the different users or the different individuals that are enjoying the space, from kids all the way to seniors. We want to make sure, and to our four-legged friends, right? We want to make sure that there's that accessibility, and then bathrooms. We all see like off the beaches, right? Like in the San Francisco, they keep it simple with the bathrooms, right? With the stalls. So I would say incorporating those, but restrooms, I feel like we've been hearing it, right? Like meeting to meeting when we're talking about this, our restrooms, and ensuring that for the future, making sure it makes sense for any sea level that rise. Yeah, and that's it.
Any comments?
I have a few comments. I like what Lisa said just about, you know, covering things that we don't already have a lot of here in Brisbane. And I have been thinking about that. And then the other thing that I've been thinking a lot about is what I actually see happening there now and the ways people are using that area. Because it is windy, it can be cold. Personally, I don't necessarily see like a children's play area there, because I hear you in terms of not having the best playgrounds in the city, but my preference would be to fix or kind of beef up what we have in those spaces, but have something for children that is different. And for me, I see kids biking there because there's the trail. Mm-hmm. And so I would be much more inclined to have some bike features. Like when they want to go ride their bikes, they have some bike features and they have the trail. And I loved your idea, Lisa, of a slide, because that's another thing that kind of would lend itself to the area. Again, I would not put that in the top 5, but I would love to see that at some point. So that's kind of where I am on that. And then going back to what you said, Christine, I do think there's a real desire for some serenity, right? Like, and so I view it as a space where people could gather, but also just the people who work there. If they're getting a sandwich, they can go across the street and have this lovely view and have a wind-sheltered place to enjoy it. Because I think that's the thing. There are places to sit, but it's usually too cold or windy or, exposed. So I would love to see that. I also wrote down, 2 people mentioned signage and benches are things where we could get some funding from the Arts Commission potentially, and I would love to see that so we could make our money go further. Hardscaping is like, yes, that's a term I wasn't super familiar with, but I think the landscape, if I had to say the number 1 priority, is just getting the landscaping right and the trail so that people can go there and walk it and enjoy it. And I hear you, Lisa, that our city has not been great necessarily at kind of upkeeping. And yet I think we could look for volunteers. I know we'll have the Parks Foundation, but I think that's something as commissioners that maybe we could start having a louder voice in. And I'd be willing to be that voice. And I know you all would be too. So those are my thoughts.
This is the kickoff for better landscaping. If we set the bar high.
Can I
course.
say one thing? You mentioned the art intersection here. I see some kind of hardscape berm seating
Yeah.
that could incorporate art. Mosaic, cool benches that are built into the hillside, protected. Anyways, that I think could intersect with the Art Commission to have something very cool designed if given the space.
One last comment on the Bay Trail. When I first looked at this project, I zoomed out and there was this trail. It connected everything, and people will be using it. I think when it's connected and beautiful, there are going to be marathons or races and bike rides, and this is our opportunity to show people from out of town, who we are, our history, our passion for art, people, signage, the marina. It's a little kind of marketing niche to the rest of the Bay Area. So I think it's really important that the Bay Trail is incorporated into it. And that's my final comment. How's our ratings? Anyone
Yet
else?
to be determined. If there's no other comments from the commission, I will attempt to encapsulate all of your comments into priorities, and you can correct me if I've not got it correct. I heard that there's a desire for like a parallel Bay Trail alternative with enhanced accessibility to and from the site. I heard that there's a desire to utilize the existing earthwork to support as a wind barrier or seating to create gathering spaces for the community, whether that's a picnic area or amphitheater or plaza. Some activation of the site that would allow for potential bike features or a play element. Or food truck area, and then integration of public art, whether that be some form of gateway signage for placemaking, kinetic art, or artful benches. So those are kind of the top 4 things that I heard, in addition to some other kind of priorities around restrooms. And that could be a phased approach where in the interim, maybe we incorporate some signage on Parcel R that directs people to the existing restrooms. Or if there's a demonstrated need after the site is more activated, there could be a temporary placement of a porta potty or designation of a flex space to allow for future new restroom.
When we're talking about hardscaping and views, do you think that that's, do we have an opportunity, because I don't know if everyone knows this, that you can see downtown San Francisco on top of that hill. We can make that even higher and a place for kids to climb to, a destination, a perch. Is that important to the group as well? It's just extending one end as a view area. Because that was left out, and a lot of people talked about it.
I think that sounds great. The only concern is making sure that we're not causing trouble for future developments that are going to be happening around the area, and making sure that it's within.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for kid friendly.
Well, not just kid friendly. I'm thinking from the standpoint of we're talking about sea level rise, we're talking about erosion, we're talking about landslide, we're talking about like that's kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah,
engineered, but it could be cool.
Yeah.
I'm for that if it's future proofing, if it's making the area more safe or stable in light of sea rise. Like I'm for it regardless, but it sounds expensive. So I would say not my top priorities, but, because, just for money reasons, but I love the idea of it. But the other thing I will say is the views there are awesome, no matter what.
Okay, this just occurred to me. It's kind of goofy, but it would work. In Hawaii, some clients of my ex-husband who had phenomenal garden space, they had commissioned these art pieces of giant beach chairs that were tall, very tall, and you could get up on them and sit, and you could see for, their whole acreage. And if we had something artistically built that you could get up on and see a view, whatever that is, if it's giant chairs, that would be fun. But it's an idea without moving dirt.
Love it. Okay. I felt like you covered it.
And we're still capturing all the wonderful ideas from the ad hoc committee about materials being sustainable and proofed against the marine environment and attention to cohesion, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, that will be shared with the consultants and the council subcommittee.
Perfect.
Groundhogs.
Yes.
The groundhogs.
They've been eliminated. They
thought the
have
ground
been
squirrels.
killed.
It's the ground squirrel.
The ground
Yes.
squirrels have been, they've had traps out there for the last 4 months, and they're gone. They'll be back. For now, they're gone.
They're watching the meeting. All right. Where are we here? New business. It says NA. We don't have any. And reports, chairperson reports. I don't have any. Surprise. Subcommittees, Concerts in the Park Subcommittee meeting held on 1/26. Who was there?
Natalie and I were there.
Felt a long time ago, right?
Do you want me to, I can start and maybe
I
add
can
anything?
remember, yeah.
We made some decisions, and so I do think these decisions are worthy of discussion. Decisions in terms of direction that we wanted to share with the fuller body to get your thoughts. So a couple of things. We have had feedback that people prefer Friday nights versus the Sunday days. And couple things, like we just saw more people in the evening concerts than the Sunday concerts. Some people have just voiced that to us. And so after contemplating it, we decided to kind of swing so that we'll have 3 evening concerts and still have 2 daytime concerts. So we're still splitting it, but the split is toward evening concerts. The second thing in terms of changes is kicking things off later. So starting, I think it was July 30th, and then going through August. There are 5 total. And the reason being that the weather might be nicer as we get a little later, and also we're going to have the evening concerts to begin with and then end with the afternoon concerts. And our hope is that families that are on vacation will have time to be back. School will be back in session when we have the daytime concerts. So those are some big changes, and maybe I'll say everything and then we can discuss. So those were 2 things that we thought about. Another kind of biggie is local bands. We have had lots of feedback from the community that we have local bands who would be able to entertain us just as well as some of the other bands we've had. And we want to kind of explore that more. So we have decided to keep 2 full-time slots for local bands, where we'd have 1 local band in each slot. We need these bands to be able to play the music that people know and love so that there's dancing. And also we want evidence that they have performed outside before, because it's a different thing, and video of that. But we really want to try for local bands and kind of pave the way toward you know, if it works out, potentially having more local bands. The caveat is if we keep them more for local and we don't go ahead and nail down some of the bands we've had before that are popular, we will miss out on them because they will get booked up. So we thought this was a nice compromise. We also are going to look at maybe replacing the DJ night in the park with a local band. So that would make it so we have 5 bands total. And then the rest of the discussion was just about money and how to bring in revenue and some of the ideas that we were presented, I think, at an earlier meeting, looking at what would happen. So, Natalie, anything I missed there? I'm going completely on memory, which is always a little scary.
Nope, I think you covered everything. Yeah, the dates, bands, local, and then the sponsorships.
Nicole, anything?
Yeah, you captured that. That was great.
So, comments?
I've already seen the signage, the digital sign on the ridge for the call for local bands for August.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there is a form that is open and was included in the last blast and will continue to be marketed out for those local bands to submit. Open through the early March because we do still have to continue to compile our marketing materials and proceed on with planning.
Please do share that. We want to make sure we have lots of local bands putting their hats in the ring. And again, if we see more activity there, it'll enable us to have potentially more local bands in the future.
Any other comments? So, yeah.
What, did you guys discuss fundraising or, yeah?
Yes, we did. I'm having trouble remembering what we agreed to.
Oh, we did receive the form that Jeff sent out. There was a form, right, of sponsorships that was sent out. And those will be like marketed. I think, what did you mention, like after March? Is that?
It's about to go to council, or it just went through council
go through
for
approval first. Okay.
for the fundraising plan. So yeah, those efforts will move
And it will be
forward from here.
posted once it's approved. It'll be posted online and then I believe through like the Star, right? And other places.
And one thing I would just really like to see is a very cool concert T-shirt that, like the kind of T-shirt that, you know, you get when you go to a show from a popular band, and it could have all of the band's names, especially the local bands and the year. And if we know anyone in the community who would like to design that, I'd love to hear from them.
Thank you.
So did you guys, I know we've discussed it before. Did you guys discuss strategies for getting people to sponsor concerts in the park? Did you talk about that? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right. I would
Yeah.
just like to get our community excited about sponsoring bands. Like maybe groups of people, groups of families could have, you know, hey, that's my band. You know, I did that. Maybe some of their names could show up on the T-shirts. You know,
I'm with the band.
I'm with the band. There
I
you
love
go.
it.
The Battle of the Bands is very successful.
There you go. Anyways,
Yeah, I love that idea. And I think that was one that was presented that we said to kind of circle around. Could we have concert sponsors, like individuals or families who want to sponsor the entire show?
yeah, and if it's local bands, local sponsors would be great.
All right. So then we had the Public Art Committee meeting held on 1/26. How do we want to do that? I think two of us were fired. From the committee. We'd like to say fired, but we're on public record here, so.
4 of you were fired.
Four of us were fired. And I think what's important to know is that Noreen and Michael's leaving clothing here, everybody, the ratings. Can we pan to Michael? am I correct to say, Noreen, you're going to be reporting,
yet. You want me to give it back to you later? Okay.
you're going to be reporting in for when Julie and I are off the group?
Yes, we'll let
Who-
you know. It'll probably take a few months to transition because the ordinance needs to be rewritten, the bylaws. And then the city will need to conduct a recruitment to seat people in your place. So we anticipate that'll probably take at least a few months, which will allow the existing committee to get through kind of selection of artists for the Artful Bench program.
That's a great segue. So we had so many submissions to the Artful Bench project that, and a few of us weren't there, that we decided to postpone that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think there were 50-some proposals for people to look through, and given how many proposals, which is just awesome that we had so many and they were really quality, we decided to take a beat so that everyone could do a deep dive. And just to give some context behind our firing. For
Yeah,
those who
why?
are
Why were
watching.
you guys canned? People want to know.
So as
Controversial.
the commission, the committee has matured. There has been thought that, for a while it was helpful to have city council members on and parks and recreation commissioners on to help lead and guide things. And as they've matured, they've realized like we're kind of a full-fledged commission now, and we can have the information we need, because they'll still need information from Parks and Rec and from City Council, but we can do that through channels that other committees and commissions do. And that therefore more people can get involved from the public, which is something that is always a good thing. So that was the reason that we were fired.
Okay.
I have a question. Is there any budget that's tied to that through Park and Rec?
The firing?
Oh,
Do we get severance? No.
sure.
Definitely not.
Severance or the public art advisory, like, I can't remember, like, is that part of our budget? When
No, the Public Art
Okay.
Fund is entirely separate from
Okay.
Park and Rec
Got
budget.
it.
Yep.
Okay, and severance.
You forgot to mention my poetry boxes.
That's a great one.
Do I want? No. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to the Arts Commission because I just wanted to propose a artistic idea that I saw in Portland, which were these poetry boxes that were found in neighborhoods where there were these beautiful little boxes along public trails, sidewalks, everywhere. And they just had rotating poetry posted in the box so you could just walk by and read. And I thought that was really lovely.
I love that so much, Lisa, and I view that as maybe something where the new foundation could get involved with that too.
Love it.
All right, so then we jump into the Parcel R chapter meeting. Parcel R, that's kind of some repeat, but I think maybe it's worthwhile to talk about the schedule moving forward.
Yeah, you don't need to recap that because that was provided in the packet earlier. Schedule moving forward is, now that we have kind of the recommendation from the commission, we will provide that to the consultant, and then they will have a few meetings with the city council subcommittee. Those are public meetings. The public is welcome to attend those meetings to kind of massage all of the ideas into what they feel is realistic and feasible given the space and financial constraints. And then that will eventually go forward to the full city council for their consideration and approval. We anticipate that probably happening within the May timeframe, that would go to council for their consideration because the letter of intent is due at the end of the fiscal year in June, so.
And staff, are you able to talk to Trudy and Byron about their 4 or 5 picks, or is it they need to be present?
We can. I would hope that there would be some alignment there and that there wouldn't be anything that would substantially skew your consensus as a commission.
Yeah, I just know Byron he's our youth.
Yeah.
They're also welcome to attend the council subcommittees.
Okay, great,
so.
thank you. I just want to acknowledge that. All right, where are we? I think we're getting close, huh? Are we getting close?
Setting subcommittees meetings.
commissioners.
Oh,
Guess
nope,
anything.
setting
Setting
subcommittee
subcommittee
Oh, there
meetings.
it is. Setting subcommittee meetings. Where do we want to start?
Where is it? Where is it?
What's coming up?
I don't know that there's anything overly time sensitive between now and the next meeting, but if the commission has any that they would like us to schedule, we can certainly do so.
Any of these committees that you're on have any things that need to move forward quickly? Doesn't sound like it. Oh, Natalie's leaning in. She's leaning in.
Yeah,
There we
is
go.
there, I know like we have the calendar. I was looking at the calendar of events. Is there anything that with the YAC group or anything that we need to do? Nothing? Or, okay.
No. Yeah, no.
I just wanted to ask about the Crocker Trail. Is there an update on that? Because Michael had mentioned it and there's a trails development group.
So you're welcome to agendize that for your next meeting if you want, and we can provide a more in-depth
Okay,
discussion.
yeah.
I just, for the sake of tonight, am happy to share that I received an email from the consultant that's working on it, RRM Design Group. This week, they're supposed to have an update for me by the end of day today. So if
Oh,
I
wow.
don't get it tonight, it should be tomorrow morning. But they have an updated timeline as well. So I'm happy to bring that back to the next
Yeah,
meeting.
bring that back
Yeah.
and then maybe we'll have a trails development meeting.
Sounds good.
Perfect timing with Michael's pitch. Great. All right, any commissioner comments?
I have, oh, go ahead.
Go
first.
ahead, you first.
No, I just,
Mine's very minor,
Yeah.
and it's just on my report, it's so minor, but I've been meaning to bring it up for a couple of meetings. I have had feedback from the community that the oil painting class, the lighting is really bad there. And I just wanted to put it out there, if there's any way we can improve the lighting for our artists, it would be most appreciated.
Do you want me to respond to that?
Okay.
I'm hearing from staff that we have submitted a service request for the Buildings and Grounds Maintenance Team to look at that and assess whether or not they can implement some solutions. So
Thank
it's
you.
being worked on.
okay, I have two things. First of all, I want to give a big shout out and hearty thank you to staff for the amazing dog pool event. The doggy dip was a howling success. I had so much fun and it went off effortlessly. I thought the dogs just had a great time and I would really love to know if it was a great fundraiser. Can you guys get back to us on that?
We have that in our update, but we can go into it now. We were pleasantly surprised to have the first two time slots both sell out almost immediately, which then resulted in us adding a third time slot, which also sold out. And then we had 50 total dogs and we had 100 humans. And it was a swimming success. All the feedback has been
Positive,
Yeah.
positive.
There's so many puns here.
So many.
All of the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. We're pleased to say that we covered our costs and expenses of the event in terms like staffing, giveaways, supplies, and then we're also making $1,000 donation to the Future Park and Rec Foundation. So a very successful fundraiser. The staff did a phenomenal job preparing for this, and on site they did some doggy CPR training. They were readily prepared if the event came to that. But also just wanted to thank Tom for donating his time, coming out on site, doing what he does as a professional so expertly, and capturing videos and photos and even risking his professional equipment in the process. But thank you, Tom, for always being willing to give give of your talents. And we're excited to be able to kind of piece together like a celebratory promo video after the fact too. So that's in the works, I know. Anything you wanted to add? Or Tom, that you wanted to add?
Oh, no, great B-roll opportunity. What a great event. And the dogs had a blast. Some of the humans were stressed. But it was great. It was all sorts of people there and all sizes, shapes and sizes. It was I didn't quite get it at first, but when I was there and kind of being a camera person, you could see it. You could see the fun. And it was wonderful. It was an honor to be there.
And I just want to say, you all deserve a round of applause, but especially Chairperson Greenlee, who this is, I believe, came from your idea, and made
for
it
so many
happen
years.
and brought it up, so thank you.
I just brought it up. They made it happen. So seriously,
It's a great idea.
I literally did none of the planning. I just said, hey, why don't we do this? And they made it happen. And they did it above and beyond what I could have ever imagined and planned. They did, giveaways. They had, the SPCA was there, treats, pup cups. The water was 80 degrees. I mean, it was amazing. I didn't know German Shepherds could float. They really do. Yeah. And I gotta say, Sam, for the first time in his 8 years, learned how to jump off the edge and belly flop. That was huge. So, anyways, if we ever get a chance again, let's do it again. I know we can't really plan on draining the pool. It's expensive and blah, blah, blah. But in mind, just super awesome. I loved it.
Very cool. I have one comment. I'm serious about honoring a volunteer at every single Park and Rec meeting. I met a woman biking who was out on San Bruno Mountain. She wasn't part of this community, but she was there and she was picking up trash. And we talked for 20 minutes. And I brought her card, but I don't know if you can open it up to. She would be willing to come and accept something from us, a thank you. She couldn't do it this week, but I do have her card. I think it's fun. I think the voice from above, the leadership here is saying we need to get more people volunteering. I think we should try to honor that here if we can. If we do have a volunteer, so if anyone does have a volunteer, I'm willing to kind of absorb those and call the person, have them come here, say something on Zoom, but I would love to try to do that.
That's awesome. I do have one more little thing.
Oh, boy.
The garden show this year, date has been set. It is, tell me if I'm right, what is it? Because I wrote down, but I can't find it in my calendar. May 30? No? 28th? No? Saturday? Or,
I can confirm it in our department report if that's okay.
it's an email, I think. I should be able to look it up. I thought I put it in my calendar. Yeah, May 30th. So, this is the garden show at the library. This is where everybody brings in their cut flowers, their potted plants. This is not the garden tour, because we're doing it alternate. So, May 30th, let's hope for good weather and that people have their flowers blooming at maximum. We can never tell, but, to get that perfect rose in the garden competition. Anyways, just thought I'd put the date out there.
Thank you. Staff.
Hi all. A few updates for you. So as was mentioned, that January 31st, Doggy Dip Day, in that evening, we had Artist Evening of Sharing, where we had 14 artists and about 160 people, I'd say, that were in the audience, a full room. So it was a jam-packed day, but a lot of fun was had. The pool has been closed now for almost 2 weeks. We are set to, if all continues to go to plan, the next couple of days. On Monday, which is a holiday, City Hall will be closed, but the pool is intended to be open. During the closure time, obviously the pool was drained and it has since been refilled, but there has been repair work that's been done, deep cleaning that's been done. There's been work on the waiting pool. We are hopeful to welcome the community back on Monday if everything continues to go on plan. Registration open for summer camps for residents, and that's also the spring swim lessons. So that has already opened. And then the non-resident registration date is next Tuesday. We also have open recruitments for summer rec leaders, lifeguards, and then leader in training details. That's our volunteer program coming out soon. Recently, the YAC worked to put together a newsletter for our seniors. They called it the Sunrise Newsletter, and they're working to put out another one in April. It just came out today, actually, and it was shared at the senior lunch. And they are open to feedback. I know staff is intending to go back and kind of gather what they liked, what they didn't like. One of the teens submitted a poem, just some updated information, how to sign up for the e-news. So that is something that we are looking to continue moving forward, and hopeful that the community likes it.
And then just quickly, usually at the beginning of every year, we do garden plot renewals. And so Jovi is working on that, and also created a community garden survey for those that have plots to provide feedback about their experience and what they love, what can be improved, and so forth. So that's circulating amongst the community.
Tomorrow, if you're interested in some things to do around town, there's a Valentine's Day cookie decorating at the Sunrise Room from 1 to 2 p.m. In the evening, there's the middle school dance at Mission Blue, and that is on a Thursday. Usually it's a Friday, but just with timing, they're trying it on a Thursday. There's a youth art show that's currently at the Brisbane Library, and that's there until February 17th. On February 18th, which is next Wednesday, the art showcase for the reception for Kevin Fryer. If you haven't yet seen it, beautiful. We have a few familiar faces in the room on the walls, and that's 4 to 7 p.m. On the 19th, there's a senior trip to Model Visitor Center in Sausalito, mob dance class on the 21st, parents' night out, teen nights, and spring break camp is all coming in March. Keep an eye out.
Be helpful if that was on. Thank you. Commission matters. Any written communications, Jovi?
We did have a few, but for tonight, we are only acknowledging them as received. The first being from Chris Florkowski from January 14th regarding Festival of Lights, and another one from Michael Barnes regarding Parcel R. That was on January 16th. That's it.
All right.
Commissioners, before we take off, I did want to say we sent out a doodle for the Park and Rec workshop, the commissioner workshop.
Right.
Looks like the date that was the most consensus for the group was April 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. That's a Wednesday. I think the only person that could not, there was no date that everyone could attend. So that is one that only
What
one
is the
person
time
could
again?
attend. 5 to 8 p.m.
The 22nd?
Yes, that's
April.
Wednesday of April.
It's Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
It's kind of appropriate. Right?
So more details will be shared in event, save the dates, and more to come.
All right. Do I get to do it now? All right, unless there's any other comments, we're going to be adjourned at 8:03. Wow. On Wednesday, February 11th. Thank you. Good night.
Good night and good luck.
Great.